Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but special teams are not 1/3 of the game.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Welcome back to the channel. Now, I have taken quite a bit of grief for having made this statement. And I made it years ago on Twitter, and I got a lot of grief for it. And many of my buddies online do not let me forget it. I still stand behind my statement. They are not 1/3 of the game. But when I say that, I get a lot of coaches that jump on and they begin to list the reasons why it is super important and allude to the idea that anyone who would say they weren't important would be dumb. Okay, and that's where I have to pause you, because I never said they weren't important. I simply said they're not 1/3 of the game. I believe they're clearly one of the three main phases of the game, but they are not 1/3 of the game. And if you talk to me any longer, you'll hear me say, I think they're probably around a fifth. That's my guess. My guess is they're around a fifth. So I'm making this video today for two main reasons. Number one, we just had two really good special team videos drop to the online clinic. One was from the archives, which became free to the public. So click that link below. I'll make sure I link it. And one was from our guy, Cody Gardner, who's a great coach out in Utah, who's a friend of mine, who's created content for the site before, but he now is our main host of these virtuals. And he hosted a coach from North Crowley, Texas, who did another incredible special teams video. Had some great drills on there and really great data that he's collecting. I loved it. It's hidden yardage. I'll link that video below as well. But in the Q&A afterwards, Coach Gardner, he's kind of like me. Like, he says it all in jest. He's a good friend of mine. And I laugh when he calls me out. But once again, in his conversation, he's like, All Ball likes to bleep on special teams. And I laughed, but I thought, I do not crap on special teams. I've never done that. I've only made the statement they're not 1/3 of the game, and I stand by that. But I thought, you know what? Let's see if we can find out. Are they 1/3 of the game? So I've pulled up Huddle, and I haven't done the math on any of this, but I made this little spreadsheet. Let's go over here. I made this little spreadsheet. Let's take 3 games, game 1, game 2, game 3, and how many defensive plays, how many offensive plays, how many special teams plays. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just find out, how far off am I when I say they're not 1/3 of the game. So I've got 3 of my games pulled up from 2 years ago, 3. It's been almost 3 seasons now since I coached last. And by the way, I did get a new coaching job, so I'll be coaching again next fall. And I can't tell you how excited I am. It's just a super tiny school. They've struggled. But I feel blessed. I truly feel blessed to have been given an opportunity. All right, back to it. These were 3 of our best games of the year. This one we won 29-28. The next one we lost that game, kind of got thumped. It was one of our 2 losses during the regular season. And the last game, which one do I have? Oh, the last game was our last game of the year that we won to pull off a 3-way tie for the conference title. All right, game number 1 shows 128 plays. Let's sort defensive plays. Okay, if I go to defensive plays here, you can see, here they are right here. And there are 63 of them. Okay, so you can see that right here. I'll circle it, right? 63 clips. And I'm just going to scroll through some of these so that you can see that it's accurately labeled. All right, so there's 63 defensive clips in game 1. There we go, 63. Let's go to not game number 2. I'm sorry. I'm checking on all my systems. I started to make this video a moment ago and quickly realized that my memory card over here recording my sounds became full and it wasn't recording me. So now I'm a little paranoid that everything's working. Offensive plays. Let's check offensive plays. And I go back here and we sort. We take the defense off, uncheck D. Let's check the O, and we get 47 plays. Okay, I'll just scroll through a few so you can see this is accurately labeled. All offensive plays. All right, 47 of them. 47. Now, moment of truth. How many Special teams plays are there. K. Unhighlight the O. 17. That does not look like a third to me. I'm just going to scroll through. So again, you can see this has been properly labeled for ODK, and it has 17. All right, so that makes for a total of 127 plays. 17 is what percent, if pull up the calculator, of 127? 17 is 13.3% of 127. So 0.133. Oh, I got to type that here. 0.133. All right, so 13% is about what? About an eighth? Let's go with that. Times 8 equals just over 1. Okay. 0.133 times 7. Just under 1. So it's a little more than a seventh of the game. No, a little more than an eighth. It's a little less than a seventh of the game. But let's give it 1/7 to help those guys that oppose me in this and swear that it's a third. In this game, there were 1/7 of the plays were special teams plays. All right, let's go to game number 2. Game number 2, the one we got whipped in. 123 plays it shows right here. Let's go to defensive plays first. And I can see, and again, I'll scroll through some so you can see it's properly labeled, but you can see right there clips 1 through 53. All right, so 53 defensive clips in game number 2. 53. Offensive clips. Uncheck the D, check the O. Boom. 46 of them. Just again, scroll through so you can see. 46. Although that one was a defensive play, but it's labeled as an O. I won't worry about it because it's not mislabeled in my favor at all. So there we go. 46 offensive plays. Special teams. Unclick the O, click the K. 24. Ooh, that's much higher. Okay, just scrolling through so you can see that it's properly labeled. 24. That's going to be more than a seventh. 24. All right, so that's a total of, you can see down the corner, 123 plays. 24 is what percent of 123? 19.5%. Okay. 19.5% of 123. That's just less than a fifth, but I'll give you a fifth that it's a fifth of the plays. All right, game number 2, 1/5 of the plays were special teams. Game number 3 for the conference title. Let's see what we got. So it shows 113 total. Let's start with offense. Well, defense, that's where we've been starting, so we'll start there again. Defense, 47 clips are defense. Okay. 47 defensive clips. Offense. $51 offensive clips. And special teams. Bang, bang. 14. Only 4. Yeesh. That's not even close to a fifth. Okay. 14 special teams. That comes to a total of 112 plays. 112. 14 is what percent of 112? 0.125. That's an eighth, right? Times 8 equals 1. Yeah. So 0.125. That is exactly 1/8 of the plays. Not 1/18. 1/8 of the plays for special teams. Okay, this is really in my favor here from our argument. 1/7, 1/5, 1/8. Let's do one last game real fast. Now I'm curious. Have I been giving it even too much credit when I say a fifth? Nah, I don't. I would feel bad if I go below a fifth. I would feel bad. That feels un-American, unfootball-y. to say that it would be less than that. All right. Last game. This was our playoff game that year. 43 defensive plays. Here we go. Game 4. What was that? 43 it said? 43 defensive plays. Make sure I'm checking my systems. Am I still recording everywhere? I am. Offensive plays, for whatever reason. So I'm new to intercutting. I just intercut some of these, and this one I put the end zone film first. So you can see there's the sideline. I'll get better. 1 through 52. 52 offensive plays. And how many special teams plays? 25. That's a lot. 25. Okay. That's a total number of plays of 120. 25 divided by 120 is 20.8%. 20.8%. So that is just more than 1/5, but it's not even close to 1/4. So, that's slightly more than 1/5. Let's put 1/5. Boom, 1/5. Okay, so I've got 1/7, 1/5, 1/8, 1/5. All right, last thing I wanted to check is my usual practice plan. How much time am I giving it? Am I giving it close to 1/5? Because, again, at most, it looks like in special teams, at least in my games, that 1/5 of the snaps are special teams. So if I go here to my practice plan, you see this is my usual practice plan. I was just putting this together last week to decide if we're going to go 7-minute segments or 6 based on the time we were given. But here's our total number of segments. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18? I thought it was 19. 7 and 7 is 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, it's 19. 19. 19 segments. That's what I've always gone with. And you can see it goes 7 on O, 7 on D, but then there's an extra O at the end and an extra D at the end. So that's 8 offense and 8 defense, which leaves 3 for special teams, right? Here's PAT at the end, punt, and we alternate between KO and KO-RE, so that's 3 on specials. So 3 of 19 is what I'm practicing. Okay, so 3 divided by 19, only 15.7% is what I'm devoting for time. 15%. 15.7% is the amount of time I'm devoting. So 20% would be 1/5. So you can see I'm giving closer to 1/6 of my practice time to it. That's interesting. Now, I don't know what the math is on my Thursday practices, but I would assume maybe it's the same, around 1/6 of my time. So I could look at this video. I was at 1/7, 1/8, 1/5, 1/5 in those games. And I think maybe I need to look at this and go, do I need to dedicate a little bit more time, one more segment, part of one more segment, to get myself closer to 1/5 of my practice time that I'm spending on special teams? That's a thought. All right. So did I prove my point or not? Are they 1/3? If they are 1/3, but they're clearly not 1/3 of the plays, then when you say they're 1/3 of the game, I have to ask, what do you mean? So comment below if you've got a different idea. I would love to. Will you do 3 of your games? Do 3 of your games and see what those percentages come out to be. Maybe it's just my games are different. Okay, so because so far it looks like I'm kind of right. It's about 1/5 of the game, and I'm kind of being friendly at that. It's like, do I need to change that statement to it's at most 1/5 of the game? All right, so I truly asked this question to say, where am I wrong? In what way is it 1/3? Why does 1 of 3 parts automatically mean it has to be 1/3? Like, why does the fraction have to coincide with the number of parts? It doesn't make sense to me. All right. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for letting me rant. Thanks for letting me explore and do some data right here on the camera. Thanks, as always, for joining us to talk ball. And please know, If you think it's 1/3, I don't think you're dumb. I just disagree with you, and I think that's okay. I don't think you're dumb. If you still think I'm dumb, so be it. But at least I took the time, and you gave me time to explain myself.